What is up guys, it's your boy Swolem here, back with another Classic WoW video specifically aimed at the hardcore servers on Classic Era. Hardcore servers are set to release on August 24th, which is just around the corner, and with these hardcore servers coming up, I wanted to talk about the future of hardcore servers in Classic WoW. Real quick, before we get into that, less than 30% of people watching my videos are currently subscribed to my channel. I get that asking for subs is cringe, but if there's one thing I'm good at, it's being cringe, so I'm asking anyway. So if you haven't subscribed yet, and you're looking for more Classic WoW content, hit that sub button. We are pumping out pretty much daily content for Classic WoW, whether that is Wrath Classic, Hardcore servers, or Classic Era. Now, hardcore servers is something people have been asking for a long time, and the release of hardcore servers are pretty much a direct result of Blizzard listening to the community and reacting to feedback. Hardcore servers is definitely not for everyone, but there is a very big community within hardcore Classic WoW, and the streamers that are playing hardcore are among the most viewed in the World of Warcraft category, so it simply makes sense for Blizzard to do something based on that. Hardcore servers will be pretty big at the beginning, but as you can imagine, the hype will fall off drastically over time. People will try hardcore, and they might die several times on their journey. Every time you die, you have to start over at level 1 again, and at some point this will just cause people to give up. Or imagine you try 10 times to get to level 60, you finally get a character to level 60, and then you die at level 60, and once again you have to start over. Any fresh game has a huge surge of population at launch, and then it fades over time, but simply due to the risk of losing your character and starting over again, I think the population will fade way quicker on hardcore servers than it would on regular servers. But there are things Blizzard can do to help increase the lifespan of these hardcore servers and to keep people coming back, so let's talk about that. At launch, these hardcore servers features minimal rules. You can trade, you can group, you can do dungeons, and so on. There are a few restrictions, like for example, dungeons being on a 24-hour lockout timer. You can't group up as a level 60 with a person below level 60 for dungeons, and a couple other changes I'm not going to go through in this video, but the summary is that the restrictions are very relaxed, and the hardcore servers are very open to multiple styles of gameplay. Now, this is where the first feature needed for the future of Classic WoW hardcore servers comes in, the solo self-found game mode. This is something Blizzard have already vocally stated that they might be interested in adding in a future patch to these hardcore servers, and personally, I think this is something they 100% have to do. For those not familiar with the solo self-found game mode, this is what we have been playing on Classic Era hardcore servers with the add-on, and it kind of lies in the name. Solo self-found. You can't group up other than dungeons, you cannot trade or use the auction house. It's basically a solo leveling challenge with only self-found items, hence the solo self-found name. This is something I think will and should come out 3 to 4 months, maybe more, after the release of hardcore servers, as it will spark some brand new life into the hardcore server by itself. The solo self-found rule set makes leveling a challenge. Right now, on the official hardcore servers, with grouping and trading available, it is much less of a challenge and more of a social experience, which I personally think is great, but the challenging aspect is a huge reason why hardcore became popular in the first place, and I think having an actual challenge like that on the official hardcore servers, where there is no cheating and no appeal system, could be a lot of fun. Outside of that, these hardcore servers will also bring something not a lot of other servers do: insane content material. With the addition of the one life element as well as the Makgora, aka the duel to death system, there is so much content material here for anyone who streams or anyone who enjoys participating in streamer activities. We have already seen multiple duel to the death tournaments on the hardcore PTR with cash prizes, and I can foresee this continue happening on the hardcore servers as well as low level hardcore leveling tournaments with cash prizes as well. For example, someone like Guzu or Saryu could host a level 40 capped duel to the death tournament with a $2,000 prize pool where you can give people 2 weeks to level up and get to level 40 and farm whatever gear they can get in that 2 weeks. Or you can have someone host a 10-hour leveling tournament where everyone starts at level 1 and whoever is the highest level by the end of the 10-hour timer wins a prize. Or you can have a 24-hour tournament where you level up and farm gear or professions, and by the end of the 24-hour timer you all meet up and duel to the death in a winner-takes-all format. This would make it so you have to strategize between how you spend your time. Do you actually go for professions? Do you only focus on leveling? Or do you farm dungeons for good items and so on? Basically, you have 24 hours to do whatever you want, and then it's a duel to the death, and basically one person takes all. The content on these servers are absolutely endless, and having the official one life mechanic as well as the duel to the death mechanic plays so well with streamers interacting and playing with their viewers, which also directly promotes the game by streaming it on Twitch. And I think because of the free promotion going on here, Blizzard are actually incentivized to keep these hardcore servers alive for as long as they can. Another thing I think would be great for these hardcore servers is the introduction of challenges and titles. This is something I personally think should come out with the solo self-found update, as that in itself is a challenge and should reward a title. The addition of titles give people an incentive to actually complete those challenges, and I think when you complete a challenge you need to have a way of visually displaying that you have completed that challenge, in which case I think titles are such an easy thing for Blizzard to implement and wouldn't really break the spirit of classic WoW or vanilla WoW in any way. Based on that, I am just going to mention some possible challenges they could add in the future, and some possible title rewards, and feel free to chime in with your own examples in the comments down below. First you have the solo self-found challenge, getting to level 60 without dying, and without grouping up or trading or using the mailbox. This could reward you with the Survivor title. You have the speed leveling challenge, getting to level 60 under a certain time, let's say under 7 days of slash played, and this could reward you with the speed leveler title. You have the bloodthirsty challenge, getting to level 60 while always being PvP flagged, and this could reward you with the bloodthirsty title. You could also have class-specific challenges such as Arcane Only Mage, leveling to level 60 without ever using a Fire or Frost spell, or Hammer Only Paladins, getting to level 60 while only equipping hammers as weapons, or a No Pet Hunter challenge, and so on. Once again, the options here really are endless, and it's really up to Blizzard and you guys to determine how many challenges there should be, and how many would be too many. A good compromise could be having some major challenges, which could reward titles, and some minor challenges, which only gives you a feat of strength achievement, but in that case Blizzard would have to give us the achievement system. But for now, at launch, trading and grouping will be allowed, and the focus is less on the challenging aspect and more on the social aspect of the game. And considering people will quit if they die often enough, that might actually be a very smart move for the launch itself. Based on those server rules, I have crafted a 134 pages long gold making guide, specifically made for classic era and hardcore servers, including the best gold farms, some of which you may never have seen before, and the very best investments I have used in the past. Believe me, if you want to make gold on these servers, this is a gold making guide you definitely want to check out. By purchasing it, you directly support me as a creator. You get a 134 pages gold making document, you get access to a private Discord server for gold making in classic WoW, and you get early access to a bunch of gold making videos. On top of that, this gold making guide will also be relevant for Season of Mastery 2 when that comes out later this year, so you're double dipping on the value you get out of it by using it both for hardcore servers and the next season. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for you today. Once again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.